I'm Kosta from Car Focus, and today we're going to do a detailed walkthrough of the Chery EX. We do cover quite a lot in these videos, so if there's something specific that you want to have a look at, don't forget to use the chapters in the descriptions below. We also cover and do walkthroughs of a number of different cars, so if there's something that you'd like us to do specifically, please leave that in the comments below. Today we're looking at the Chery EX. It's one of two versions of the Omoda Chery that is available in Australia, and you get the BX and the EX. The EX is the top of the line, and that's the one we're looking at today. The Omoda comes in 7 different colors. The one we've got here today is satin silver. The EX also gets the red accent option, which we've got here today, and that's only available on 3 of the 7 colors. The solar silver in the EX also comes with a black roof, and this one's optioned in with the sunroof as well. Looking at the front styling of the vehicle, you can see that the front grille, the first thing that jumps out at you is the front grille. It's very pronounced, very aggressive, very overpowering almost in terms of the front of the vehicle. It stretches all the way almost from the one headlight and wraps around to the other. It's a big grille, and there's a lot going on with it. You either like it or you hate it. I feel like it kind of overpowers the front of the car. Staying on the styling, the front fog lights are not centralized. They kind of sit on the side of the vehicle, and they also act as directional lights. As you turn your steering wheel, they activate and deactivate. Your LED front lighting, which is styled into the front grille and forms part of this line that runs across the front of the vehicle. You've also got the red accenting that runs through there, as well as the black color that splits out some of the color and the chrome running through the top there as well. You've got front park sensors on the front of the vehicle, and you've got a tow recovery point there. The Omoda is equipped with front radar for the smart cruise control. You wouldn't really expect it in a car in this price range, but it's got all the blind spot detection, rear cross traffic alerts, autonomous emergency braking front and rear. It's really well appointed when it comes to safety tech. So everything's pretty neat and tidy underneath here. I'm not a mechanic, but I think that if I was one, I'd probably find it really easy to work on the car. A lot of space between everything, and everything's very symmetrically laid out. The engine also seems to sit pretty low down, which will probably help its center of gravity and its ride handling. You can see all the way through to the back of the firewall. The car's fitted with 18-inch alloy wheels, and the calipers are also red. You've got the satin silver that we got here today. It does get these black finishes around the rims. The red splash through the alloy rim is further accented through the mirror there and along the side skirt running down the middle. Now the red is only available in specific colors, which is probably a good thing. You get a black finish on the top half of the mirror, so sort of everything's cut off right there, and everything going up from there is all blacked out, and it does give a distinct different look and break between the top of the car and the bottom of the car. So the color kind of splashes and runs all the way through there. The car's got proximity keys, and it's also got a walk away and lock function. So as you walk away from the car and it detects the car's leaving its proximity, it locks itself, and when it detects the key coming into proximity, it unlocks itself. So really handy feature. You don't have to remove the keys from your bag or use the proximity sensors in the door handles. The rear styling is worth mentioning. It's pretty pronounced, and the way that the car flares out at the back just gives it a very squared off look from the back. The fuel flap is not linked to the central locking. It's got a traditional fuel flap release latch inside the vehicle. 91 RON petrol, so you don't need to worry about what petrol station you're stopping at. It takes any of the fuels available in Australia. The key is definitely worth a mention. It doesn't have a key ring, so it doesn't have anywhere where you can actually attach a key ring, which means you've got to really plan what you're going to do with this key and where you're going to keep it. It's got to kind of go in your pocket or a bag or something like that, because you can't get attached to a key ring. Looking at it, it's got all your standard buttons: lock, unlock, and boot release. This one does have a power tailgate, so you can activate that from the key. For those of you who hung around for my favorite feature about this car, I think it definitely has to be, well, it's actually a toss-up between the remote start, which you can lock the car and hold down the button, and after 5 seconds it starts. There it is. I wonder if you can switch it off. No, not from the key. So it looks like once you started it, you've got to get to the car. Double press, no. Long 5-second press, still no. Looking at the rear styling, the first thing that I really like about the car is definitely the rear tail lights. So you can see here when you've got the running indicators and the running brake lights as you switch on and switch off the car, and when you lock it and unlock it. So LED lighting all the way through the rear tail lights. The big pronounced Chery logo running through the top, Chery with 1R, and the 230T is the badge. For this particular vehicle, it is a 1.5 litre turbo, but I think the 230 just talks to the fact that it's turbocharged and it's got a little bit more power. The Omoda 5 badge, and then your rear sensors that run all the way through there. Still sticking with the styling, this rear spoiler is a pretty unique look, something I haven't seen before. It's actually split, so if you take a closer look, it allows air to run through the middle of the spoiler. It does have a bit of an overhang this way, which means that if the car is dirty and you're trying to clean it at the car wash, you've really got to get your hand in there at the back. The automated car washers aren't going to get there. That's just a general drawback of any car fitted with one of these spoilers. It does have the dolphin fin aerial, which again, going through the car washers, it means you don't have to remember to remove it. Rear demisters and wipers, so all pretty standard stuff. And your rear cameras that sit just there, as well as the boot release. It's got the chrome tip look for the dual exhaust. When you look underneath, the exhaust is split out of the silencer, but it doesn't actually feed through here. When you open the boot, you do get this cover that sits just there, giving you a flat loading area. You've also got a 12-volt power point situated just there, and a little courtesy light inside the tailgate. So all pretty standard stuff, what you'd expect to see. When you lift and remove this cover, it does reveal another storage compartment here, so you could actually store smaller items. It is also ribbed through there so that they don't roll around too much, but you probably still get a fair bit of roll depending on what you got there. Your emergency warning triangle, and underneath there your space saver spare wheel with a tool sitting inside the wheel well. Sitting in the back of the vehicle, the exterior styling has definitely paid off here. The more squared off styling at the back means that I do have a little bit more headroom. At the rear, I think that if they had swept it down too much, I probably wouldn't have been able to fit back here. So that's a plus. The leg room, front seats in my driving position. So I've got, what we've pretty much come to expect as kind of standard leg room here. At the back, not a lot of play in front of my knees, but not uncomfortable. You do have pouches behind the rear seats. You've also got these sports seats that have this groove that runs through them over there. I think it's really just for styling. I can't see what other function it would have with this chrome finish around the back here, so it does give it a bit of a unique look. Moving to the center console, you've got your rear air vents. You've also got a USB-A fast charge with a little lightning logo. You've got synthetic leather running through the cabin of the vehicle. It's got a nice soft touch to it. Center armrest at the back with 2 cup holders. And you've got all your standard ISOFIX 3-point seat belts and 3 rear head restraints, as you'd expect in the rear of the vehicle. You've also got little reading lights that can come on just there, along with your grab handles and your hooks here to hang something up. So generally, sitting at the back of the vehicle, everything feels pretty standard and what you'd expect from a modern vehicle of today. The center console is really pronounced, and it's also split. You've got a bottom level and a top level. The top level's got all the stuff you'd expect it to have. The bottom level is actually where it gets interesting. You've got 2 different charge points on the side here. You've got a USB-A and a USB-C. And on the driver's side, you've got a 12-volt. You also get this great non-slip surface running through the whole bottom section of this console. So you can really just store things. It's also lipped nicely, so things aren't going to fly out from the bottom there. Very clever use of space. Looking at the side here, well finished and a smooth transition all the way through here. There's no lines or body lines. That's all one solid panel. It does end up giving it a nice finish with the chrome edgings running across there, just bringing the 2 sections of the panel together really nicely. You've got perforated artificial leather seat with this white piping running through there, which complements the white stitching that you get in the doors and in the headrests, as well as the sides of the chairs. Glove box, well positioned and really big, sitting just neatly over there. And you've actually got mood lighting running all the way through this center console section there, and it actually changes light and patterns to match the mood lighting that runs through the doors. So a lot of tech with this vehicle, and it's definitely geared towards a modern family with a lot of technology, a lot of devices, a lot of things to plug in and use and play around with. You also get electric front seats on passenger and driver side. On the door, a bunch of standard controls, central locking, your electric folding mirrors, as well as your mirror adjustments and electric windows. Your fuel flap release is situated just there, and your bonnet release over there. The sound system in the vehicle is a Sony sound system, and it's got speakers running all the way through the vehicle. There's ones in the door over here and in the pillars running through there. All your standard appointments, automatic headlights and lighting features on that side, as well as wipers and stuff there. So just the 2 stalks. On the steering wheel, you've got a leather finished steering wheel on the vehicle. On this side, you've got your phone, your heated steering wheel, your Hello Chery button, so you can actually talk to the Chery and ask her to do things like open the windows, open and close the sunroof, adjust the temperature in the cabin. All of that can be done with this button over here where you talk to the vehicle. The Chery logo in a chrome finish, it actually looks really nice. You've also got some piano black on the steering wheel and a flattened out steering wheel at the bottom, so it's not perfectly round. On this side, you've got your smart cruise control, lane keep assist, all of those types of features, as well as adjusting your following distances, all done through there. Now, this little console is worth mentioning. This is your driver attention detection system. This monitors the driver. It's got little cameras built in there, very similar to the Subaru system that has a driver attention system. And it looks to see where, if you're paying attention to the road, and if it feels that you haven't looked straight ahead recently, it gives you a warning on the dash and lets you know to please pay attention. Steering adjustment is height and reach. But I do find that the steering wheel is at a bit of an angle like that, which I find does kind of affect the ergonomics a little bit. I probably would have wanted it to be sitting a little bit further this way. So the cluster, it's a dual cluster. It's got two digital screens, one that sits over here and one that sits over there. Most cars nowadays have two digital screens. It's just that in the Chery they've chosen to put them both together and create a sweeping front cluster all the way, which is becoming quite a popular styling thing nowadays in newer cars. So as you can see, fully digital. You've got your rev counter on that side and speedometer on that side. All your different driving aids like lane departure warnings and lane keep assist and blind spot detections, they're all sitting at the top there. And that little blue light is your 360-degree sense that the vehicle has. So if you indicate, gives you a 3D view of the car. That little light there is your driver attention system, so that tells you that it's on and that it's monitoring the driver. We've put this screen in the normal Chery standard view, so it gives you all those different menus, your vehicle settings, your local settings, your phone, media. It does have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. They are both wireless. At the moment I've connected Android Auto wirelessly, so we can have a little look at that later. On the right hand side here, these little eyes, that's the Hello Chery logo. So if you if you just say hello Chery, it starts listening.
Yes, I'm here.
Open the windows.
Opening window.
There we go. So you can tell hello Chery to do all sorts of things.
Yes, I'm here.
Cancel.
Okay, canceled.
So it's sort of like when you first get your new smartphone and just don't say hello Google or hey Siri, because it's just going to wake up and it's going to start listening. So this one you've got to actually say hello and the Chery, and then it starts listening.
Yes, I'm here.
There it is. Cancel again. So this is the standard menu. So from here I have linked Android Auto, so that just automatically connects to the phone. If you want to go from here, then you've got all your normal Android Auto settings, but you can also go back to Chery and that'll bring you back to the main menu. If you've got an Apple phone connected, you can do the same thing with Apple CarPlay. You can also play videos from a USB device once that's connected. So I'm not sure which USB port it uses. I think it's the one on the side here, because the one on the side here did have like a video icon or like a bigger device icon. So I'm pretty sure it's the one that sits on the side. So when you indicate left, it gives you that 3D view of the vehicle. You'll see even when there's traffic, it'll actually superimpose all the cars that are around you into that image and let you know what's going on. So if you indicate the other way, it does another look and it gives you the other view. You can also change these views, so you can just have a look at what's going on the right in 3D, if you just want to see what's going on in front of you, or if you want to see what's going on behind you. So as soon as you put it in reverse, it gives you the rear view camera and it gives you the 360-degree view camera. And when you're driving really slowly, like we are now, or stationary, you can also go into drive and it will show you what's going on in front of you. It also has these dynamic lines. I haven't seen dynamic lines for the front, so this one's got dynamic lines going forward. And of course it's got dynamic lines in reverse as well. Coming down from the digital screen, you do have all your aircon controls that are actually integrated in this panel that runs all the way across here. So this is a pretty interesting panel in that it's got some of the mood lighting that runs through it, so it's backlit, but it also has all these buttons. So these are actually, even though they're like tactile buttons, so there's not an actual button there, it just senses that you put your finger on it. It gives you audio feedback, so it gives you this slight ping every time you touch it. So if I bring the fan speed down, we might actually be able to hear it. And they're really responsive, so just a light tap right there and they respond instantly. I do like that the aircon controls have been moved away from the digital screen. I have said it before in my videos, aircon controls is something that you tend to want to use while driving, and you don't want that to be incorporated in a digital screen because it just makes it a lot harder to use. Wireless charging can accommodate two separate smartphones. So designed this way, you can put one here and you could have a second one sitting over there. and it's also got these little ribbed sections there so that the phone doesn't slide around, and it stays in there quite nicely. Electronic gear shifter with reverse neutral drive, and it's also got a manual mode that you can engage. So if you engage manual by pressing, you have to move it into drive and hold that button down, and then it goes into manual, and then from there you would have to tap through the gears backwards and forwards. Over here you got your heated seats, so just normal 3 heated seat settings running through there. You also have 2 different drive modes. You've got sport and you've got eco. This little dial here is to control your audio. So again, I love that there's an analog switch with tactile feedback running through it. You can actually hear it and feel it clicking through as you scroll it, and you can also switch on and off your center display from just the touch of a button here. So really handy controller. Your electric park brake with auto hold situated there, and your emergency hazard lights. These 2 buttons over here is your home screen for your main controller, so it actually forms part of this little controller, and you can also activate your audio visual system and your 360-degree view cameras, and that you can switch that on and off from there. You've got your 2 cup holders situated over there. They're also lit. Your center armrest, press that button and it releases. Once that's lifted up, you've got a big storage compartment at the bottom here that actually goes a little bit more forward as well, all the way to underneath these cup holders. So you do have quite a lot of storage in there. And the other good one is this little guy. So this little rubber mat, as you can see, you can remove it easily from in there, because as you can imagine, you could end up getting a lot of dirt and things stuck in there, and it would be really hard to get it all out. So you can just pull that little rubber mat out and clean it. The other good one is that it's actually got a little air vent. So there's a vent that probably feeds aircon air into this compartment. So if you did have a cold drink or something that you wanted to keep cool, or chocolate that you don't want it to melt on a long trip, you could just keep it in there and it would stay nice and cool. The rear view mirror is worth mentioning. It is actually magnified. It actually allows you to see the rear passengers while also looking out the back of the vehicle. That's the advantages of the magnified mirror. The disadvantages is that cars appear to be much further away than what they actually are. So when you're driving the vehicle, you've got to be really careful, because I think they've chosen from the feel that I'm getting while I'm driving it, that they've magnified the side mirrors as well. So it can be a little bit disorientating the first time you drive it, trying to judge where cars are around you. So you do need to be really careful when you first pick one of these up and start driving it around. Your cabin lights, sunroof operation, and interior controls, all the standard stuff that you'd expect to see over there. Sunroof is operated with this button, but you can also say, "Hey Chery, close the sunroof." No, it doesn't respond to "Hey Chery." You got to say, "Hello Chery,
I'm listening.
close the sunroof."
Closing the sunroof.
That's sometimes a little bit easier than trying to figure out the buttons, but there it is. So you've actually only got one button that operates a sunroof. That button doesn't do anything. It's really just there to complete the look of the other button, I guess, because it doesn't do anything. I hope you enjoyed our take on the Chery Omoda 5. If there's any other vehicle that you'd like us to cover off, please leave it in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe our videos. It definitely helps us. Thank you for watching.